June was actually a really big jump. So May, I made $292. June, I made $1,004. Totally night and day.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Paid to Travel, the UGC podcast. On this podcast, we talk all things UGC, how to get paid to travel, what it's like to start UGC, tips on UGC, all the things. Today, we're doing one of my favorite types of episodes, which is a student interview. And quick shout out, we have been kind of looking at the analytics of where you guys are tuning in from, and obviously US top country. We've got a lot of you from Canada and then like a decent amount from Australia and the UK. So that's kind of fun. So if you're out there, hi. Although our top city last month was Lincoln, Nebraska. Who in Lincoln is listening to all of my podcast episodes? I'm obsessed. And then obviously Denver, top city. That's where I live, if you didn't know. So shout out to the Denver community. Seattle, Washington, Toronto, Dublin, Salt Lake City. So literally all over the world, which is so cool. So if you're tuning in from one of those places, hi, I'm so happy you're here. I'm excited to hop into today's episode. I am interviewing my student, Lana, who, gosh, we've known each other for a while now. We actually met on a trip to Iceland last year. Was that last year?
Oh my goodness, I think it's been like 2 years ago now.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I think so.
That's crazy. It's been 2 years. She's hopped into the UGC world. So Lana, do you want to give me a little bit of background on just who you are? What are you currently doing in your life? How'd you get into UGC? All that stuff so that the audience can get caught up.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm never good at making a long story short, so I'm going to try my best. I think that's the Southern in me. I will talk forever. So I guess we were working from home and we were doing remote work. And then we basically started as a dental pharmaceutical sales rep. So that's what I was doing remotely. And I loved it. And then the company ended up getting bought out. So it was a very small, like kind of mom and pop feel of a corporation. And then it got bought out by this really big one. And of course, things changed. I didn't like it. And I was like, okay, we've got to find something different. Well, thought I chose a greener grass, and the grass was just burnt brown dirt.
No.
Yeah, it's okay. It happened for a reason. I'm glad it did. But that pushed me into seasonal work because I was like, I didn't like it there anymore. Like I was like, let's just apply. If we get it, we're going to go. And we ended up getting a seasonal job. We've been doing a seasonal work for about 3 years. 2 years into seasonal work, I was like, well, let's do YouTube. Like it would be a good way to document our travels. And it's just fun looking back because I'll have all the memories of May and I and like where we've been. Like, you know, it's totally different than having just a picture. So we got into doing YouTube, and I think I ran into one of your pages somewhere. I don't know if it was on TikTok or on Instagram about UGC. And then I was like, okay, so maybe we can add this as like a supplement income. So then I started kind of dabbling into that last winter, whenever I was in California, like right before I left. And I was like, okay, like, let's just try to figure this out. And I thought I could figure it out on my own. Obviously I couldn't, because I was just like not getting anywhere. But I was like watching so much like YouTubes and just like reading all of this stuff. And it was kind of overwhelming, honestly, just trying to like navigate all of it from that side. And that is really how I got into UGC, was from doing YouTube, because I genuinely just love doing it. Like I'm still not making anything from it as of this point, but it's just something I really love to do. And then I was like, well, maybe we can have a supplement income. And then literally just last month, I hit my first 3K month, and I was like, done. We're done with the work. We're just going to go blindly. We're just going to hope the rest of it goes well. And yeah, that's what we're doing.
I love it. And I feel like it's such a common experience, being like, I'm going to try to figure this out on my own, and just struggling because there's so much contradictory information out there. There's like a lot of coaches and gurus being like, this is, you know, the one thing you have to do, or avoid this thing, or this is how you pitch, or this is how you pitch. And it's like, I'm so stressed. And so in my program, it's like, I just kind of have it all laid out. And then it's like, there's no, like, I'm a firm believer, there's no like exact one right or wrong way to do things. I like to lay out the different options and kind of have then a structure for figuring out what works best for you as a creator.
Mhm.
And I think that's, yeah, just a very common experience of like, I might need a little bit of structure and just feeling like, okay, I am actually on the right track.
Right, right, and I like too how it was kind of so there's gonna be different things for everyone, but I just felt like for me, like, I really needed one that was honed
Mm,
more for, like, outdoors,
right.
travel, that type of thing, and I need somebody that can be a little bit more my speed, like, make me feel like, I kind of more or less belong because I feel like that, like, creator comparison is real, and I struggled with that too, and I was like, I and that one I just didn't get anywhere because I just felt like I was comparing too much, and I was like, I'm never, like, going to be in that same ballpark, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's how I stumbled on yours, and I was like, "This is gonna work."
No, I totally get that. Like I think that's what's cool about there being so many UGC coaches out there is like you kind of get to find who you vibe with and who kind of matches your energy and your aesthetic and the kind of content you want to create. And
Mhm,
I think, in kind of the same way I see it with UGC creators, like I really don't believe there's competition in terms of like competing with other UGC creators. There's so many opportunities, and we all have our unique thing that we bring to brands. And I feel the same way about UGC coaches. Like, literally after I hop off this call with you, I'm interviewing another UGC coach and like having him on my podcast. And it's like, we're not in competition. We are all so different and we all
mhm.
have something different to bring to the table. And we get to teach different people who resonate with us. So yeah, I think that speaks to like someone else's program might be great. Maybe you just don't resonate with them or the content they create as much as like a different coach. And that's what's great about there being like multiple of us out there. Can you tell people kind of a little bit about your life? So I know that you live in your RV. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so this is literally our setup. We've got my 20-foot trailer, you can pretty much see it all in one angle. This is what we live in. And then this is what we drive, and this is my Lily Bell, or
Hi.
May, Lily May. Yeah,
She's
so
the sweetest.
oh my goodness, she really is. I'm always biased, but I swear it's the funniest thing. Like, I even get compliments on the UGC videos. They're like, "Oh, we loved seeing May," or like, "We loved seeing Lily May," and I was like, "Yeah, I know you do. Trust me. Like, everybody loves Lily. If you don't love Lily, something is wrong with you." But yeah, so we travel full time. Generally, we've done seasonal work, and this winter, fall, winter, whatever, we've kind of just decided to be 100% delusional and maybe we've lost our minds. I don't know, but we're just like, you know what? We're going all in on UGC. Like it's all going to work. It's going to pan out. And I've always wanted to travel the Pacific coast. Like we were talking earlier, I've never been to Washington until now, never been to Oregon until now. And I really wanted to go and experience these things before I just kind of packed us up and just hit the road like this. I really didn't know I was going to do UGC at the time, so I was kind of doing more of a fast travel, which I've just kind of learned is a bit hard, I guess, for me in a way, especially getting packages and whatnot. So that is something I'm still learning. But once we go to Oregon, we'll be staying at places for a week up to 2 weeks at a time. And then we're going back to California where we wintered last winter, and we're going to be doing it's still seasonal work, but it's volunteer. So it's totally different. I've just had everybody has good and bad experiences with everything, but I swear I don't know what it is, but seasonal work I just don't think is for me. It's been like every single season. It's been some nonsense and I'm like, I mean, you're going to have your garbage with everything,
Mhm.
but I'm like I don't get paid enough to deal with this nonsense and to be like lied to all the time and you say one thing, you're going to do something else. And that's hard, especially because it's literally May and I like there's no other income coming in.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of other ones, I think you've done seasonal work before, but a lot of the times it's couples. Well, if you're a couple, you kind of have two incomes. So if one of you gets screwed, at least you have another income source. And me, I'm just like, well, here we go. Just
Yep.
toss the eggs out. Yeah. So that's how we got here. Boy, that was a long story short.
No, I love it. Give me a good story. Okay, so to give people a little bit of a timeline, so you kind of started dabbling and researching in UGC a year ago, is that right? April of 2024.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And then kind of what has that journey looked like up to this date? So like you were kind of just researching, trying it on your own. I know you joined my program probably 4 months ago now, the
Yeah.
accelerator. So tell me kind of what that process has looked like for you.
I think whenever I started it in May, that was also the time transition. I was going from California to Colorado for the summer seasonal work. So I didn't really spend a lot of time until like maybe end of May.
Okay.
And then that there, it really was just kind of connecting the dots. So I think your course is supposed to take 3 months. I think it took me like 1.5, 2 months.
Yeah.
And that's just because like I've already done like all of this other research outside of your course. And then
Yep.
like your course was just literally like the roadmap. It was like stop one, stop two, stop three. So it was just kind of bringing it all together. So it was a little bit easier for me, I guess, to kind of go through it at a different pace.
Mhm.
And with that, I still just kind of, I guess at the beginning, I just felt so lost with pitching and the outbounds and just trying to figure out, like, I guess our branding as a whole, like, even with just our Canva website, like, I just felt like that was just a lot of missing parts that I was kind of still figuring out. And then I stumbled on a few UGC apps. So I was on Billo, I did Fiverr, and Fiverr for me was just a big one. It was just, and I still haven't really had much success with that one, but Fiverr was one that I was really trying to figure out. So I think I ended up spending a bit too much time on that one, just kind of looking back, because that one just, I don't know, that's just a whole nother world. But Billo ended up doing really well, and I applied for some on Coley and whatnot as well. But I just, again, I feel like Coley doesn't, I generally have success with Coley if it's for dog UGC. Otherwise, I generally don't have much success with that one. So in May, I ended up working with Gibbon, which is, I found them off of Popfly. At the time, Popfly was just really, whenever I was looking, it was a lot of gifted ones. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, that's the foot in the door.
Mhm.
So that one was a gifted one. And then I reached out to a watch company and I did get that one. And that one was for $120. And I reached out to them through Instagram, if I can remember right. And then I found one on JoinBrands, which was through New Brew. That one was also gifted. And then I got 2 Fiverr gigs for the month of May. So I did one for some dating app, and that one was $60, which after Fiverr takes out everything, it was $48. And then I got one through Connect 10 Wi-Fi, or it's like an RV specific Wi-Fi. And that one was 180, which comes out to be about 124. And they just wanted for like fact questions, like answered, like question and answer type of thing. So that's what our month of May looked like. So we literally made $292 in May. And that was kind of like my first big thing, because I was like, okay, so now that I've completed this course, like this is what I'm, starting to see. So I started to kind of figure out the way it works, the lay of the land.
Mhm.
And then really, I guess after everything marinated in my brain, June hit, and June was actually a really big jump, and I was really surprised. So May I made $292. June I made $1,004.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, so that was like that totally night and day. And I worked with 12 brands in June. And really and truly, the most I've made in June all stemmed from Billo. And looking back, like I heard so many like hit and miss things with Billo. Like it is a lot of like lower paying job, like $40, $50 jobs. But I was like, you know what? Like I need to get my skills. I need to learn.
Yep.
And if I can learn this way and get the brand names underneath me and get the feedback underneath me, like that $50 is better than doing gifted.
Yeah, 100%. And I like that mindset too, because I hate when people get into UGC and right away they're just like, well, I just want to start landing like $1,000 deals where it's like $1,000 for 2 videos. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But like you have to work your way up, and you have to build the experience, you have to build your skills, and you're going to be taking on lower paying jobs at first. And so I love when I get students who jump in and they're just like ready to work, and they're like, all right, like, yeah, let's do some $50 videos, let's do some $100 videos, and just like get our foot in the door and build up the
Mhm.
skills. And like as we'll see as we talk about your July and August income, like it changes once you kind of put in the grunt work. But I love that kind of mindset behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was another thing too, because I mean, whenever you're looking like on TikTok and things, because at this point I was like, okay, we've done this in June. And then I was like, let's try to, work on our TikTok page. Let's try to work on our Instagram page for UGC specifically. And I ended up getting one inbound through, I think it was through my TikTok page. And that was for Newtonic, which is just like a drink supplement thing or whatever, focus blend. They found me through TikTok, and I was like, okay, so I can see how this works. Like, maybe let's try to continue building on this. Now, since we've hit the road, that's all just gone to trash in a handbasket essentially. But I was like, I can't, like, it's been a little hard for me to keep up with everything and the projects that are still going on. But no, like, I guess kind of what I was trying to get at is like, I seen so many creators on TikTok that were like, oh, I just started UGC and I'm making $500 a month and I'm making these $3,000 months. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, but are you really though? Like, are you being serious right now? Because maybe you've done social media like before, and maybe you're already an influencer, so you know how the game works, you know how to do these videos. And I feel like for me, it was just kind of like, again, that creator comparison was just so real for me, because I was like, I am over here like trying so hard. Like, I am trying to do these videos right. Like, I'm watching so much stuff. And I was like, I am like grinding like 12 videos, like a video almost every day. I feel like I was doing for Billo for these $50 jobs. But I mean, as you see, it paid off. Like, I ended up making $1,004. That was, to me, that was such a huge win, because I was like, finally, like I see the, like you were saying, you work away and you're like, okay, I can start to see the success now. I can see that this is going to work. And I think the only thing about Billo was you don't really do any of the edits. So the Billo team adds like the edits, the text on screen, the sound effects, and all of that. So I think whenever I was going really all in on Billo, it was like, okay, well, I'm learning how to create the videos, but now I'm still lacking the, how do you add the text? How do you do the screen placements? And that was kind of, for me, that was another thing. I was like, okay, well, now I've got to figure this part out too. So I ended up just watching, like, Billo will put on there like your video and then they'll show their video. So then I just started watching theirs, and I was like, okay, well, if people are paying for their editing, like, let me watch this. Let me figure out what they're doing. And I've just tried to kind of not really replicate it, because some of them I just really don't like. I'm like, why are you doing it like that? But so, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that I've been trying to learn. But I will say on Billo, I've gotten some really good feedback, and it's been a way for me to branch out into other niches. Like, I did one for sexual wellness, and that one turned out like really good. Like, they were really impressed with that one. And we did one for like an RV bidet. So we've got a bidet in the camper now.
I love it.
I know. So it was like, I mean, Billy was good for, I felt like, branching out as well. Instead of digging myself into one hole, I kind of branched out, which I really liked that. So, I mean, Billy's got its pros and cons, but I think starting out, like, if I was to do it all over again, I think I would have just focused on just Billo and at least gotten like 20 from Billo, and then been like, okay, now let's branch out some.
I like that. No, I think the apps are a great place to start. If you are in my program, that's kind of where I have people start out. I'm like, let's get on the apps, get your first few jobs, and help build your portfolio. So then we can move into like email pitching and DMing brands. But yeah, it's a great place to start. So then what did your July look like?
Yeah. So in July, we ended up making about $130 more. We ended up making $1,131. And pretty much all of these, again, are from Billo. I've got one through an email that I sent out. So that one was for Natural Dog, which was $250. I got the inbound, so that Gibbon board. They reached back out to me and wanted to see if I wanted to do a video for them. That one was $400. It was 2 videos with AB, and then they wanted some of the raw footage. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Nice.
No questions asked. We're just going to wing it and go with it. In May, got another one through Coley. And then we ended up working with the Connect 10 Wi-Fi brand again. And then we did the Brands Meet Creator through Halaveda or Halavita. I don't recommend anyone working with them, but that one has been, yeah,
Tea. I love the tea.
no, that is ridiculous.
Okay,
Yeah.
so July you worked with how many brands then? 6?
So 16.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And again, pretty much all of those were on Billo except for the 1, 2, 3, 4, except for 5.
Okay, so that's interesting. So I feel like the 3 that you mentioned were like higher paying, which is interesting. So, okay. So and this makes sense because I feel like when you get deals from like email pitching, they tend to be higher pay because you have more negotiating power. And then with like returning clients, those tend to pay more as well. So with the Gibbon board, that makes sense. And then again, it's a lot of the kind of lower paying deals through Billo. So it almost seems like the 3 like higher paying deals that you had was more than like half of your income for the month.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like looking back, it's like, okay. And then that July month was whenever I realized, I guess the light bulb finally clicked off. It was like, okay, so I do need to do more outbound pitching because
Yep.
I seen it.
Yep.
Like literally, I could see the light bulb going off on your face. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like it took me a little while, but it finally clicked.
Okay. Love that. And then August.
That was my big to-do month. So we ended up jumping from 1,131 in July to August was 3,615.
Woo! I love to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was like the biggest month I had. And that one pretty much just kind of looking at all of it pretty much came from emailing. I got four from Billo. I got the one inbound again, which was the Connect 10, and one from Coley, which was for May with Zesty Paws again, and one from Fiverr, which was Fiverr was a repeat one as well.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the rest were from outbound pitching?
Yep.
Nice. Okay, so how many brands did you work with in August?
Let's see. 19.
19. So
Yep.
almost the same amount of brands that you worked with in July, but it was like triple the income.
Yeah. Let that sink in. Like, and I think for me too, it was just like, I guess the nerves of just even sending that first initial email. And I think that's been a big learning curve, but I think that's been something that I really needed to just do. Like if I don't send it, it's always going to be a no. So it's like, send the freaking email, Lana, just hit the send button.
I know.
So
now that we kind of have an idea of how much you were making, how many brands you were working with over the last couple months, what was the time commitment that you were putting into this? Like July, August, like how many hours a week are you working on UGC between finding brands, pitching, filming the content, etc.?
yeah, so I would say between June and July, I was probably doing about 10 to 15 hours, but that's because I was also working 30 hours at the resort. And with the Billo, those videos are really easy to do because again, you don't do any edits. So those took like maybe 30 minutes for me to put together. And then in July, with the natural dog one, like that one, I was kind of learning to do the edits. And then the Gibbon board, I was still trying to figure out the edits and how to put those together. So those took me a little bit longer. And I've noticed pretty much with editing, and I think it's just gonna be something that's gonna get better over time. But with like editing videos, like they take me for one video that has like A/B hooks. This is gonna sound ridiculous probably, but I think it takes me like an hour. And I'm like, I think it's because I read so much into it and I'm like putting the like video clips on there and then I'll put it all together and then I'll walk away and then I'll come back and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is just, we need to fix this. So I think it's just something that's going to come with time. So I am a bit slower on that aspect of things. So I would say probably within the July and August, we're probably looking at about 30 hours. But again, I kind of expected it to almost be that higher length of time, just because too, like I've been trying to learn, I don't need to have 100 doggone video clips of one product. And that was just kind of hard for me because I just felt like, well, what if I needed a different angle? So now I'm trying to learn, like, whenever I'm going to film, like I have in my mind or on my piece of paper, because generally I write it on paper, but I have it on paper, like, okay, like these are the 10, 20 like different type of clips I need to get, and this is going to be it, and we're going to make it work. So that's definitely helped a lot. Yeah, and just the speed of things. I know I move slow. It's okay.
No, and I mean, that's honestly the common experience, I think, with UGC. Like, it's not something that necessarily you get really good at overnight or that you understand how to like be super efficient at right away. If you listen to this podcast, you know that I always say that. Like, don't expect to just jump into UGC and it's this like super quick thing that you learn right away and are super good at, and like you're making $3,000 in your first month. That's just not the common experience, and I don't want anyone to think that. And that's why I like having my students on here, because it shows kind of the realistic journey of what it looks like to get into UGC, but also like it's inspiring to be like, okay, cool, like when people stick with this for several months and really like learn the skills, like it gets better and it gets easier and you make more money with it. And with your case too, it's like, okay, great. August was a great month. And now it's like, you're only going to like learn more from there. You're going to get faster at editing, faster at filming. You're going to raise your rates, be better at negotiating. And so you'll see kind of those light bulb moments again and again with those little things that happen where you're like, oh, okay, once I started negotiating with packages this way, like I started seeing a higher income. So it's cool to continuously see that progress, but that's progress that happens month after month after month. And that's not a day by day or week by week thing. That's like, okay, 6 months in, we're having these big light bulb moments. So I think it's kind of cool to show that journey with someone who's like actually been through it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, slow progress is better than no progress. I just think that, yeah, I mean, seeing the realistic side of things is really where it's at, because I mean, again, all of those like short form videos, I feel like there's a saying that says comparison is like the thief of joy or something like that. And that is just so true, because if you get caught up, I mean, like you're saying, if you get caught up going into UGC being like, oh, okay, well, I'm a UGC creator. This month I'm going to make $5,000. Like that, like it's so unrealistic. And I think it just, whenever you don't meet that and you think you are, like, you're automatically not having good thoughts about UGC, and then it's going to show in your work, and then it's going to be like one of those snowball effects. And I feel like if you just go in it with 100% realistic views and not expecting to make those huge K months, like I think you're going to be okay. Like as long as you're okay putting in the work, like I think you've said it before, it's not a get rich quick scheme. And I feel like a lot of people make it seem like that online, which I think kind of sucks, just because if that's all you're looking at, that's all you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yep. I like to think of it as it's a career. Like think of it as a career. You start in your career with an entry-level position, entry-level pay, and you're like, all right, we're working our way up, but you can do it so much faster with UGC. Like it happens so much faster than like being in an industry for 5 years, 10 years, and like increasing your pay little by little over time, where like UGC, you can really jump in and within a few months start seeing that pay increase and your skill increase and all this stuff. So I like to think of it more as like, this is a career path, and it's actually a way more like a way quicker career path in terms of like increasing your pay and stepping up your skills than most career paths, which I think is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the other thing too. Like whenever we first started UGC, like I knew like kind of right away that this is what I wanted to do more full-time and long-term. So like I immediately got like our business names set up. Like I got the EIN, I got the IRS paperwork. Like, I mean, I did all of that, and I was like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to make it work. And like, now I have a spreadsheet of like, what brands I'm doing, like what type of deliverables they are, like how much I'm making off of each one. Like even if it's a gifted one or something like that, like I'm still putting that on there. And then I've got another spreadsheet just for like budgeting, or not really budgeting, but like where my expenses are. And just trying to figure out all of that. And I feel like that for me is probably going to be the next biggest hurdle, is figuring that out and waiting for tax season to come because I feel like that's going to be super joyful. So,
Yeah, it's super fun.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole world. I actually, the podcast episode right before this, if you're listening and you're like, finances and taxes freak me out. The episode right before this is me interviewing like a tax expert, and that was a great episode. So you guys should go listen to that one. So since joining the program and starting things in May, how much have you made or like signed in UGC deals? It sounds like maybe around the 6,000 mark.
Well, we all know I can't do math. Let me get my calculator. I'm not even going to pretend I can do math. 6,042.
Nice.
So clearly I made my money back and then some
Yeah.
from your program.
Yeah.
Um,
Almost like a 10x investment, pretty much, or like 10x return. Love that.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like to show people that because I'm like, if you put in the work, like it works. Like,
Mhm.
that's why I have the guarantee. I'm like, girl, if you get in here and like you can't make more than $1,000 in the 3 months implementing, like, let's chat because something's going wrong, because when you implement the stuff, it works.
Right. Right. And I think too, like that, can't remember the name of the book or whatever off the top of my head in your class, but I know you were talking about that, basically that no-brainer book. And again, I'm blanking on the name of it, but like
It's $100 million offers by Alex Hormozi.
yes, that one. So I listened to that one every night. I did my audiobook and I listened to it every night. I ended up falling asleep, so I always had to re-listen to like, some extra stuff. But like I think that one made a big deal as well, especially for my emails. Oh, and I will say, sidetrack moment here,
Wow.
but one of the biggest things I have been so proud of in my UGC journey is literally the amount of compliments I get on my professionalism and just communication itself. That is like my number one feedback is like, thank you so much for being like communicative, like professional, like just keeping them updated. And sometimes I feel like I'm just kind of bombarding them because I'm like, hey, like just updating you, like, I've picked up your mail, or just updating you, I'm starting on your project, or hey, like, we're currently in the process of moving from here to here. So I'm going to start on your project on this date and I'll let you know whenever I get started. And I love hearing that just because I know from my sales world, that is the way that I always pride myself in. And that's the way that I always viewed sales, is just through that relationship that you form. And like a huge prime example of this, and this is one that I definitely wanted to share with you because I think this one is like one of those blew my mind moments. So I got a job on Billo and it was $80 through Thermo Recovery Wear. $80. It was for it looks like a compression sleeve, but it's not. Anyway, it's just one of those like type of products.
Yeah.
And he really enjoyed working with us through Billo. And like if he wanted anything changed, like I changed it probably within like a day or that day. And he sent over his direct email for his company. And he was like, if you wanted to reach out again or like work again, he was like, let me know. He's like, I would love to work with you. You've been very communicative. And he was like, out of everyone that I've worked on Billo, he was like, you have been the most professional out of all the creators. And I was like, score.
Incredible.
I know. Yeah. So, okay, listen to this because it might knock off your socks. So hold on to your socks if you're wearing them. But so I emailed him and I was like, hey, like we're going on this road trip. If you would like me to show your compression sleeves, which again, they're not, but that's what I keep calling them. But if you'd like me to do some videos along the way, like here's kind of what I'm thinking. And what do you think about it? And he emailed back. We kind of chatted a few things over. We went from that $180 video to my Basecamp package, which is $525. Like literally 80 to 525. And I was like, sold. Like you can't tell me I can't do nothing now.
No, literally. And like, I know, okay, so I have another program, Retain Her. Lana is coming into that program. So excited.
Yes.
And this is a lot of also what we're going to be talking about is like how to be such a good creator in every aspect that brands are just like, we want to work with you again and we're going to pay you more. And this is like such the beautiful thing about UGC is you work with these brands and then you do a good job and you're communicative and you deliver quick and they're like, wow, that was such a good experience.
Yeah.
And it really is rare. And I speak to so many brands where they're just like, one of the top things that stands out to us with creators is how communicative they are, because it's not common.
Yeah, and I think that's just what blows my mind, and I don't know if it's because of, like, the way I was raised or if it's just that's the way that I did all of my sales, you know, back at home, and that's, like, how like, I was doing top sales back at home. I was always top 3 at the job, so it was, like, I don't know if it stems from that or, you know, what, but in my mind, it's common sense. I wouldn't wanna work with you if you can't email me, if you can't tell me what's going on, if you can't I wouldn't wanna do that. So I feel like it's a two-way street. Like, I always try to put myself in the brand shoes, and yeah, I think that's been one of the biggest things.
Yeah. No, I love that. Okay. Can you give us just a little spiel about kind of how UGC has like impacted your life, changed your life in any way, and like how it's, I guess, supporting your current lifestyle? Yeah, I just like tell us, hype up UGC for us.
I can do all of that. So, no, so it has been literally a wild ride. Like, that is about the best way I can put it because, I mean, kind of if you listened from the beginning, like, seasonal work has been the only way I've been making money for the past 3 years. And as soon as I seen that 200 go from 1,000 to that 1,000 go to, like, 131, like, it was that constant each month was getting better. Even just if it was $20, $100, clearly I was doing something right somewhere, and I was just making a little bit more, a little bit more. And before I secured all of the 3K deals, I like called my mom and my granny, which is pretty much my parents, and I was like, I'm doing this. Like, I do not have a job lined up anymore. Like, I am putting 110% faith in myself, and we're just going to go in this, and I'm going to figure it out because I can see that it works, and we're going to make it go. And before I secured that 100% 3K deal, I was already packing the bags. Like, we were already hitting the road at that point.
Yeah.
So we were on the road heading to Washington from Colorado, and literally it still blows my mind at like how everything has worked out. And I think it's also the mind shift that I've kind of changed as well. I think that's been really huge. And I tell you what, it just cracks me up because it opens up so many doors in so many different ways. Like, I'm almost like I don't even have words, which doesn't really happen often. But I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat in doing this thing that we call life, okay? And it's just crazy. Life is crazy in general. But the other day, we went and filmed for some like rain boots and the compression sleeves. And we were literally just out and about doing what we wanted to do anyways and filming it. And then I think at that time it was like the 2 brands. So that was, we were out beat bopping around, just doing what we wanted to do, taking these videos, essentially making $1,000 by doing these videos, being where we want to be, doing what we want to do. And it was like, I see this full circle moment here, you know? And I mean, you are going to have those like office days where you're like, okay, I've got to edit, I've got to send some emails, but it's literally the coolest thing. And just proving to people, especially family members, that this is real, like this is a legit job. I think that has been so crazy because my family was like, you don't have a job. Like, my granny the other day was like, are you even making any money? And I told her about my August and she said nothing. She said, oh, I said, yeah, that. I mean, just even that has been so neat in itself, and learning new skills. It's not the same thing every day. And I'll be honest, I am not a fashionable person. I'm literally over here in sweatpants and pajama pants. Okay. And I'm over here like trying to figure this out, you know? And like, I just got another brand with some shoes and whatnot. And I just crack myself up because I'm like, okay, Lana, we got to go to the thrift store and actually get dressed. It's so fun because it's like, it makes you grow as a person too, you know? And I don't even know if I hyped up UGC. I hope I did, but
no, you did. I love it. No, it's cool to just hear I don't know, different people's like experience with it and kind of how it has, I don't know, fit into their lifestyle and stuff. And
Mhm.
so I love that. I think exactly what you said. It's like I get to live my life and do what I want to do and then basically like bring brands along on that and shoot it. It's like it is so similar in a way to like being an influencer, and
Yeah.
you just don't have to post the content, which is great.
Right, right, and it is literally so nice, and it's so fun, and I just think it's so neat because, like, whenever I'm emailing these brands, like, we're, um, doing this one for a dog bed, and then that one's gonna be gifted, but at the same time, like, May really does need a new dog bed, like, hers is literally falling apart, and, they're literally an hour away from where we're gonna be at in California for the winter, and I was like, "We just might come on over and say hello," and they were like, "Oh, we would love that," and I was like, "I bet you would. We'll be coming
Bet
over
you
pretty
would.
soon." Yeah. We're coming.
I love
So, I think that's been so fun, and then I guess another thing about the UGC, so that one company that ended up being a repeat on Fiverr, they actually just sent me an email, and they invited me to go to the CES something another in Vegas. Like it's some big trade show in Vegas. And they were like, you can come, like, we'll send you the invite. And then that way you don't, like, the invite basically got me in the show for free. And then
Oh,
I was like, oh, that's cool. So I don't know if I'm 100% going yet because I'd have to figure out like flights and accommodations. But I thought that was really neat. Like they even thought of me to be like, do you want to come along? Like, we'll get you the invitation pass.
I
So
love
yeah,
that.
like so many doors open up. It's
Yes.
wild.
So funny. I love it. And I'm excited. I feel like we'll have to do maybe a follow-up interview in like the beginning of next year just to be like, okay, it's been, 5 more months. Where are we now? How are things going? But I know just from like talking to you a little bit, some of your goals with UGC. But yeah, kind of what's your maybe like a short-term goal with UGC? So maybe like by the end of this year, and then maybe long-term goals with UGC.
Yeah, so I would say by January, my one goal is to get this camper paid off. I think I owe like ten or
Ooh,
$11,000.
okay,
And
love
I'm
that.
like, yeah. So I feel like that is a very short term goal is to get that sucker paid off. And then my long term goal, which I've had really not great success with pet UGC. I feel like I end up getting like, we only do gifted or we only do affiliates. And I'm like, that is not, I don't want to do that.
Love it.
So the pet one has been really hard, which I've found that kind of surprising. But my long-term goal would be to at least get it to where just myself can bring in about 50,000 a year and then have May be able to bring in about 50,000 a year.
Love
It's
it.
kind of my long-term goal. So then that way we would be making about 100 a year.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
the goal. It's on a piece of paper, it's on a sticky note on the fridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plaster that shit everywhere.
Got that right. Because if you don't see it, it's not coming true. You got to see it, believe it, and talk about it every day.
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah, as someone who is a six-figure creator, I can tell you it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. Okay, one other question before we wrap up. If someone is thinking about starting UGC, what would you say to encourage them? Let's do this kind of specific. So let's say someone's in the same position like you were in, where it was like they have done research, maybe they've listened to all these podcast episodes. They are like, I'm trying, but I just feel like I don't know, confused or I'm struggling or whatever. Like, what is maybe a piece of encouragement that you could give to that person as someone who has been in their shoes?
Yeah, I would truly say if you've got the like $800-900 where it's not going to put you in the hole, like if you have it and you can figure it out from there, totally invest in the program just because like clearly you're going to make your money back. It might not be within the first 3 weeks, obviously, but you're going to make your money back and then some, clearly. And then I would say really like maybe while you're going through the course, if you're anything like me, don't look at other UGC creators out there because I feel like that was really kind of what stopped me from doing a lot of it just because again the comparison is real and that kind of really put me like not in a good place to do it. and maybe just really focus on the program, focus on your skills, pick maybe like 1 or 2 apps and like really hone in on those and really start applying, getting those gigs, even if they're lower paying, like just take them, do them, get comfortable, get confident. And I think that's the first thing, get confident in those lower paying jobs, because to me, that was the whole mindset shift that I needed, was to build that confidence and be like, okay, well, I know what I'm doing. I can do it, and it's going to be okay. I don't have to be like everyone else. And I think that is where I would start if you were anything like me and in my shoes. That is how I would do it. And that's the way that I wish I would have done it looking back, is just really not just focus on the program, focus on one app, focus on building your skills, focus on building your confidence, and then branch out to the world of wonderful social media.
I completely agree. I also relate to that, where I'm a big research person. I love learning. I love information. I love research. And so I will just research something to death. And it is a beautiful thing, and also just often puts you into analysis paralysis, because it's like, there are so many different ways that I could do this. There's so much contradictory information. There's no right or wrong way. And it's like, you just get stuck in your head and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it can feel overwhelming and discouraging. So just having a very clear path of like, okay, I'm doing this, and then I'm doing this, and then I'm doing this. And like, it might not be the right way. It's not the wrong way either, but I'm just going to do this. And then we're going to figure it out from there, instead of trying to do everything at once, or just like getting stuck and not doing anything at all.
Right, right. And I definitely agree, because I feel like that's kind of where I was at. I just felt like you were saying, information overload, and then you really don't know, where you're supposed to start, how you're supposed to start, and then it's just kind of that snowball effect. Like, you've got to start somewhere. Just pick one, focus on the one, and it's all going to be okay, but you just have to pick one. Like, you can't walk left and walk right at the same time. Like, pick one direction.
Yep. I love that. Focus is like one of the biggest things that holds us back, because we're just so scattered. There's so much information out there, but if you can just focus on one thing, you will get a lot further than you think.
Exactly. Yeah. And I couldn't agree with you more on that one. Yeah.
I love that. Well, was there anything we didn't talk about or cover that you wanted to talk about on this podcast?
I would just say figuring out a routine on like what works best for you is definitely kind of that first hurdle. But what works for you or what works for me might not work for everyone. So I think that is kind of one of the biggest hurdles as well. And I think, again, building that confidence helps with that. Like, I've kind of learned, for me, like, I'll do like a script storyboard and I get that approved before I film anything. And I think I've heard you say that you do that as well. But especially with these outbounds, like, I've learned that helps so much with the revisions, because it's like, okay, you already know how I'm going to do this. Like, is this going to work for what you're trying to get out of this?
Right.
But no, I think otherwise, I think we hit all of it. I'm excited. I hope this helps someone. And I just hope that, if you're in a similar position, you can see that it's going to work and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. No, I think people are going to love this episode. The student interviews always like just do so well. And people are always like, oh, this was so encouraging, or like, I saw myself in that person or whatever. So I always love doing these episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will have to do maybe another interview in a few months. The new program that I'm starting, Retainer, that is starting next week. So Lana and I are starting that next week. And so kind of, I don't know, after your journey through that, we'll have to do another like catch up interview to see where you're at. Because I'm excited to see where you're at.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah, because I think I told you too. I think if I go back and look at my messages, I'm pretty sure I told you on Instagram, I was like, I'm doing the course. Like, I finally pulled the plug and I was like, I'm going to quit talking about it. I'm going to be about it. So I did it. I think I messaged you and I was like, I'm going to be one of those students that like makes it big. We're going to do it. I'm claiming it. So
And here you are.
I know.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for letting me chat with you and interview you. And yeah, we will definitely have to do a follow-up on it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. I hope this episode was kind of inspiring, helpful for you if you are kind of maybe in a similar position that she was, maybe analysis paralysis, doing all the research and just feeling stuck. If you feel like maybe you want to pull the trigger on the program, message me. I'm always here to chat if you want to figure out if it's the right fit for you or not. I'm always here to chat that through. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody. If you want to become a UGC creator and get paid to travel, then my UGC Accelerator is for you. Fast track your UGC career with over 40 video trainings, live weekly Q&A calls, and direct access to me as your UGC coach. You'll get personalized feedback, accountability, and a proven 3-month roadmap to start getting paid UGC deals. Plus, an active community of over 100 other creators also on their UGC journeys. Some students have earned over $2,000 in UGC deals within weeks. And I have students like Lana, who quit her nannying job just 4 months after starting the program because of UGC. Or Katie, who's made over $12,000 in her first few months of pitching. Plus, there's a no-brainer guarantee. If you don't make back your investment in the program, I'll give you a full refund. So if you're ready to take UGC seriously, click the link in the description to learn more.